This is Coach Literal here to talk a little track and field for our families and our supporters. And we're going to sort of break this video up into two components. We're going to start with recapping the indoor season that just came to a conclusion in the first part of the video. The second part of the video, we're going to talk sort of about the outdoor track and field team and the expectations. And we're really going to focus on the middle school because we have a lot of new middle school athletes and families that have joined us this spring. So to go back to the indoor season, which we started practicing indoor just before Christmas, we had 3 varsity athletes and 2 middle school athletes. We had a few more signed up than that, but had various injuries and other circumstances that sort of took down our numbers. But we competed in 4 indoor meets at Mason County, just in what you might call the regular season. And then our high school athletes competed in the state meet yesterday in Louisville. Overall, I was really pleased with our indoor season. From the very beginning of the season, you could see from our varsity athletes who were Bryant Curtis, Grayson Miller, and Braden Appleman, that the work that they put in during the off season had paid off. If you look at Braden, he opened his 2022 season throwing 30 feet 8 inches in the shot put. His first throw in 2023 indoor was a 39 feet 4 inch throw. Gained almost 9 feet in a year. So not only did he set an indoor PR, that was better than he'd ever thrown in outdoor as well. So obviously Braden's been putting in a lot of work since last track season. He ran cross country to, again, help him just physically be in better shape. And then we know he's been putting in a lot of strength training as well. And you could see that in his improvement from the beginning of last year to the beginning of this year's indoor. Bryant Curtis, you look at his last year's first 1600 meter time, 5:29. This year opened at 5:03. So again, about a 27-second improvement from the start of last indoor to the start of this indoor in the mile. In the 3000 last year, his first time was a 10:40, and this year's first 3000 meter race was a 10:14. So again, about a 27-second improvement from where he started last year to this year. Grayson Miller began his first 1600 last year at 5:41, and his first one this year at 5:14. So again, about a 28 second improvement in the mile. And in the 3000, opened up last season at 10:52, and this season opened up at 10:25. So again, about a 28 second improvement. And a lot of that, I think, goes back to the training that Grayson and Bryant did between cross country and track. Compared to what they've done in the past, they stepped it up, they increased their mileage, and they increased their quality workouts is what we call them. It's more of your speed type workouts, race pace type workouts. And it's obvious to me that had a big, factor. That was a big factor in their improvements from the start of last season to the start of this season. So we get to the indoor state meet yesterday with Bryant, Grayson, and Braden. And first of all, a really nice facility in Louisville. It's all it is a track facility called the Norton Healthcare Sports and Learning Center. It's only been open 2, 3, 4 years. A great facility, but an extremely long day because this was the state meet for Class A, the state meet for middle school, and they also had an open division. So those athletes who are maybe homeschooled or those adults who just want to compete, they had their own division as well. So the meet started at 1. I think our kids ran their last event at 8:30, and there was still another event to go. So a really long day, and that alone, I think, started a lot of toughness from our kids that they had really good performances. So Grayson and Bryant started off running the 1500 meter run. We normally run the 1600, which is about a mile, very close to a mile. We'd never ran the 1500 before. There were 47 athletes in the 1500. Bryant took one of the top 8 spots, which has received awards, running 4:25. Grayson, not too far behind him, finishing 12th in 4:34. you can convert those using, there's a little conversion calculator to tell you what the time would have been if they had ran that as a 1600 instead of a 1500, added 100 meters. Bryant would have ran about a 4:44. That's about 13 seconds faster than his current 1600 meter time. Grayson would have ran about a 4:54, which would have been about a 10-second PR for him. And his first time would have been his first time under 5 in the mile. I'm sorry, not his first time, but his first time this indoor season. So was really pleased with their performances yesterday in the 1500. And again, you think about where they started this season. Bryant's first mile or first 1600 this year in indoor was a 5:03, and if he would have ran it yesterday, would have ran about a 4:44, almost a 20-second improvement in just 3 or 4 weeks. Grayson, again, his first 1600 in late January, a 5:14, and again, had it been a 1600 yesterday, he would have ran about a 4:54, again, about a 20-second improvement in 3 or 4 weeks. That's what's impressive to me. Not just a 20-second improvement, but in sort of that short amount of time. Braden was up next. He threw around 5 o'clock, 5:30. First 2 throws didn't feel, they weren't his best throws. He didn't feel real good throwing them, but he didn't let that get him down. He came back out and threw 41 feet and 7.5 inches. I'm sorry, 40 feet, 7.5 inches. So a really good throw by Braden. For athletes, they kind of want to break, they have certain milestones, things they want to get past. And for a thrower, that's hitting 40 feet. Braden's prior personal best was 39 feet, 6 inches. So it was good to see Braden. Get that, that break that 40 feet mark. And not even just, barely break it, but get past it pretty comfortably. Throwing that 40 feet, 7.5 inches. So, good throw for Braden. And again, Braden had a little setback, a little accident that he wasn't able to throw for a couple of meets this year, missed about 3 weeks worth of practice because of that. But, still able to have improvement from the first meet to the last meet. Was really pleased with that. Then the last event of the day for us was, again, Grayson and Bryant back in action in the 3,000 meter race. First of all, just to be able to run the 3,000 the state meet is something to be proud of, because indoor state, anybody can go. Each school can enter 2 kids in each event. Doesn't matter their times, their marks, whatever. There are 2 exceptions, and one of those is the 3,000. You have to be in the top 12 in your class to be invited to run in the 3,000. And Grayson and Bryant both were in the regular season, had top 12 times. So, we were great, thrilled to see that. Grayson's best time prior to yesterday was a 10:01, which was the school record. Grayson comes out and runs 9:38, knocks off 22, 23 seconds. Big PR out of Grayson yesterday. And again, to keep that school record. Bryant, another great run yesterday. His prior personal best in the 3K, 10:14. If Grayson hadn't been running, Bryant would have broken the school record yesterday. He did break it. It's just Grayson broke it too. Bryant ran 9:47, almost a 30-second PR, about a 27-second PR in the 3,000 for Bryant yesterday. So, again, you look at where they started the indoor season and where they ended the indoor season in the 3,000, big improvement in just a few weeks. So, really, really excited to see all of these 3 athletes, what they do in the outdoor season as they continue to train. They had the today off, but get back to work tomorrow with the outdoor. So kind of transitioning, indoor shut down now, transition to outdoor. And again, really want to focus on middle school, because we've got a lot of middle school athletes who are new to the sport and their families are new to the sport. So so far, it looks like we have 8 to 9 athletes on the middle school team. That is a jump from last year, where I think we had 5 or 6, and currently all of them are boys. So we've had, today was our 3rd practice, and all of those are young men. There is still time to join, but time is running out. It pretty much would need to join this week because our first meet is in 5 weeks, 5 weeks from Wednesday. So certainly we need to get these kids in here and get them prepared, because we want them to be prepared as possible for their first meet. We don't want it to be a bad experience. Our coaching staff that the kids will see, in addition to myself, Coach Jefferson, who does primarily work with the high school team, but he does, assist some as well with the middle school team. If you know Jared, he was a standout runner for Bracken County. On the distance side, he ran cross country and track and field, won a lot of races, and just a great competitor. He brings that aspect to our coaching staff. Also on the staff, Coach Snap. Jason has been with me for a long time on the cross country side. Of course, when we started track and field, came over to that. We added throws in 2017. We added the shot put event. He's coached our throws since we started shot put in 2017. Then we added in the discus throw in 2019. So, I always tell folks I know very little about throws. Coach Snap handles the throws for me, and we really appreciate that. Practice expectations. So your kids should have, we try to put out the practice schedule a month in advance or at the start of the month. That way it helps families plan. Obviously, we've got several kids who ran elementary cross country. Now they're bumped up to a middle school sport and middle school track and field. And it's a different time commitment, and it's a different level of commitment. Our athletes on the team who played middle school basketball probably know this. You practice 4 to 5 days a week for a middle school sport. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing with middle school track. We're kind of easing them into it. We had 2 practices last week. We had 3 practices this week. But here, as we approach the end of the month, we'll get up to those 4 and 5 days a week, commitments. So, also we have a lot of athletes who elected to throw and are also choosing to run and or jump. And I will admit that's a little unusual. You don't see that very often, especially by the time you get to high school. Now, we don't really want to restrict kids too much at the young age and here in middle school, especially our 5th and 6th graders. So, we let them do all that. But that's why there's 2 separate practices on the schedule. And that's why they overlap, because typically as you get older and get to high school, your throwers are different from your runners and your jumpers. Not always, but they have been for us. So when that happens, they just need to come, whatever practice starts first that day, they'll come to that practice. And whenever the last practice ends is when they'll get out, which sometimes we overlap exactly. Like this Thursday, I think we're both 3:30 to 5, but like today, throws was 3:30 to 5. We were 4 to 5:30. So what we did was Coach Snap took them the first half, and then I took them the second half. And Coach Snap and I will work together for those athletes who are doing the throws as well as the running and the jumping, which is as what I focus on. Weather, we like to tell athletes be prepared for weather. Today was like really nice at 74, 75 degrees. Tomorrow is supposed to be 48. We're probably still going to be outside for most of tomorrow's practice, because if it's above 40, we're pretty much outside. So they do need to be prepared. But also it's important to remember, when they start practice, they might be a little chilly, but once they get into the running, they're probably going to warm up, and they may have to shed some clothing. So dress in layers. Okay. Have a t-shirt on under that hoodie. So if they want to pull that hoodie off, they can, still have a t-shirt on, or maybe have a pair of shorts on under a pair of sweats. So they wear the sweats in the beginning, can yank those off if they need to. So dress in layers for the weather. We do practice in all sorts of weather, obviously hot, cold, in the middle. If it's raining, we still may be outside. If it's not thunderstorming, there's no thunder and lightning, there's a good chance that we will be at some point outside in that practice. So if it is storming, we'll usually still practice, but we have the weight room available with some weights, machines, and treadmills. So don't assume because it's raining or storming that practice is canceled. If it's canceled, I will send out a remind message. But we do still practice in most types of weather. So we kind of divide our team into four different events. You have distance events, sprints, so distance running, sprinting, throwing, and jumping. And those groups do different activities. Now, sometimes they do the same things, but overall throws, they do their own things. Our sprinters and our jumpers do a lot of the same things, but at some point the jumpers will break away and do some more jump specific things. And then our distance folks are sort of totally different from the sprinters and the jumpers and the throwers. So what one kid does, another kid doesn't do. So if kid comes home and said, well, I did this, but the other kid did a lot more, a lot less, there's probably a good reason for that. So just know as parents that, not if you show up, if you see us practicing and you see your kid sitting down, another kid out running, it may be because your kid's legitimately on a break and another kid is in another category, training for something else. So, there's a lot going on at a track and field practice, especially when you only have one or two coaches. The last thing I'd say about practice is encouraging your kids to work at home, especially distance runners. In terms of running, a good distance runner runs probably, even at middle school, 5 days a week, maybe 6. I'm a big proponent of having one day off a week from not running, but certainly, obviously we don't practice 6 days a week, really don't even practice 5 days a week. So always good to encourage your kids to run, 1 or 2 days that they're off. And core, you can do core work, I would say 6 days a week. So really encourage your kids to do that. If you ask them what it is, they may tell you they don't know, but they should, because we've done core so far every day. So there's different things they can do for core. The different events we compete in, and I'm going to show the order of events for track and field. They kind of stagger. There's relays, there's the distance events, and there's the sprints. And they kind of stagger those so your sprints aren't all together. That way you can get it, do one and then get some rest and do another one later on. Most kids do more than one event at a track meet. You can do up to 4 events. So kids usually aren't doing one event and going home. Okay, that's what cross country is. Everyone runs the same race and then they go home. Track is usually a middle school track meets are usually about 3 hours, and your kids are probably doing 2, 3, maybe even 4 events during that time. So just kind of know that up front when you're coming to a meet and what to expect out of your kids. The things that we focus on specifically, I shouldn't say focus on, the events that we do specifically in Augusta, because we don't do everything that they do at a track meet. We'll do the 100, the 200, and the 400 meter dashes, the 800 meter run, which is a half mile, 1600, which is about a mile, and the 3200, which is about a 2-mile race. If we have enough kids, we'll do some of the relays. They have a 4x100 meter relay, a 4x200 meter, a 4x400, and a 4x800. And if you're not sure what a relay race is, we're going to we're going to transition right now and just show you a quick video of a relay race.
First call, BAAA boys, 1600 meter run. First call, BAAA boys, 1600 meter run.
Watertown won the 4x1 and 4x2 at Howard Wood. And on the outside, that is Roosevelt, opening with Michael Jones, part of their defending champ squad from a year ago. Central in 7, Washington in 6, Watertown in 5. They opened with Garrett Dieterman, 5th in the 100. Stevens in 4, Lincoln in 3, Mitchell in 2, Aberdeen Central in 1. And Watertown now with Brent Schulte. He was part of that all-time state record 4x1 squad yesterday. Watertown continues to roll here. This is Adam DeYoung, the freshman. He was part of that 4x1 squad yesterday as well. Sioux Falls Lincoln in 3, that's Cole DeBerg. And it's a good pass for the Arrows in lane 5. This is Mason Henricks. the 100-meter champ, Sioux Falls Lincoln on the move with Andrew Borchert. Watertown, they got a shot at the meet record of 128.6. They set the all-time state record yesterday in the 4x1, 128.6.
So basically, in a relay race, you have
We have a clock
four
mouth.
boys or four girls, and they're each running the same distance. And then they hand off to their teammate. So in the 4x100, every kid runs 100 meters, and then they hand off. The next kid runs 100. And they hand off. The next kid runs 100. And then when the last kid finishes, that's your team of fours overall time. 4x200, every kid runs 200 meters. That's a half a lap. The 4x400, every kid runs one lap around the track. And in the 4x800, each of the four kids runs a half mile or 2 laps around the track. So, we've had a lot of success at the high school level of our 4x800 meter relay team. We haven't got to do relays in the middle school because we haven't had either 4 boys or 4 girls. So looking forward to where it looks like we're going to have the opportunity, if all these kids stick it out, to do some relays this season. So again, we do those running events, we do the relays if we have enough kids, we do the long jump, we do the shot put throw, and we do the discus throw. So those are the events that we do. And a lot of those events are going on at the same time. There'll be a running event on the track while kids are jumping and while other kids are throwing. So a track meet, certainly a lot of things are going on, kind of like at a track practice. So lastly, I'm going to give you a tentative or a look at our tentative meet schedule. I don't want to say it's final, but it's probably final. And I'll probably be sending this home in a week or two. But you can see we have our first meet after spring break. We have about one a week basically from then on. And they're weekday meets. So we go to Bracken County 3 times, we go to Mason County once, and we'll go to Moorhead once. And again, that could change, but that's what it's looking like right now. So again, I'm excited about the outdoor track season. I'm excited about, we have a number of young athletes that have come out, a lot of 5th and 6th graders, I feel like. Several of them ran cross country. So even though that's not exactly what they're doing, they kind of have an idea of what it's about. But, a lot of our kids came from elementary cross country, and I do caution them that it's different when you get to middle school. In elementary cross country, the big thing is that I tell our elementary coach, try to get kids to come out and try to keep them interested in the sport, have some fun. I mean, running's hard, especially cross country, running those 2-mile races, but and just try to get into middle school. Middle school, I don't want to say it's not about fun. We want them to enjoy the experience, but we start focusing a lot more on getting better and improving. And that's the big thing I think you want to impress on your kids. Yes, getting a medal or ribbon is great. Winning the race is great, but only one kid can win a race or win the throw competition or win the jump competition. That's not what we focus on in middle school. We focus on getting better every race when possible. We focus on trying our best and getting what we call personal records. Anytime you beat your best time, you get a personal record, and that's what we're focused on. Focus on that improvement. I always tell the kids, if they work hard enough and they're focused on their individual improvement, then good things will usually come. And we've seen a lot of that happen at our high school, both in cross country and in track and field, where in cross country we have 2 region championships and a region runner-up. In track and field, we've in the last couple of years we've had multiple kids advance to the state championship meet. So we're coming off of what's been a really strong period at the high school for cross country and track, and looking forward to having this younger group now to hopefully embrace the kind of that work ethic that it takes to be successful. Appreciate everyone tuning in, learning a little bit about what's going on this track season, and we'll see you in a few weeks.